GM activities, we should go ahead and have this training. So I want to welcome each and every one of us here. The meeting is actually a recorded meeting. So while we actively participate, by the grace of God, the recorded version will also be made available for us so that we understand what we are being trained for today. So I want to say the teacher that we have here, the facilitator, is somebody that is very experienced, well recognized in the States in terms of things like this. So let's pay rapt attention and know that our goal is to make sure that NAGNDP Bayelsa State is always at the top when it comes to educational activities. So that is my brief opening remark. I remain Dr. Safero Obiwarebi, the chairman NAGNDP Bayelsa State. Let's have a good outing today. God bless you. I will hand over to the facilitator right now, Dr. Efiri, for him to continue. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ebu and amiable chairman, and good evening, everyone. So we're about to start now, and just like our chairman has rightly said, this meeting is going to be recorded. So today we're looking at tools for getting data in the field, Google Form, as well as Kobo Collect, right? And one of the things I'm going to do in the meeting, beyond just talking about the conventional means these tools are being used and deployed, I'm also going to share with us how artificial intelligence is shaping the landscape of how these technologies and innovation is being used. So we're getting started right about now. So sorry about the break. I'm going to share my screen now. Kindly confirm with me if you can see my screen. Can we all see my screen? Can we see the screen?
No, I've not seen though.
Okay, it's already showing.
Okay.
Yes,
Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, right. So we're going to be getting started, and first we'll be getting started with Google Forms. So to use Google Form, you just sign into the page. So you can just go to Google and just search Google Forms, right? So while it's loading, I will just be admitting more persons to the training. So you go to Google's Form workspace. Once you just click on it, if you already have a Gmail, it will just automatically come to this page. So you come to this page like this, and you just create a blank form, right? But beyond that, you will see templates like contact information and the previous things you've done before that you can actually use again. So I'm going to be closing this page.
Which one? Say what?
Please, if you are just joining in, kindly mute your mic so that you don't distract the call, because this meeting is being recorded. So please, if you are joining in, kindly mute your mic. So I'm going to open another blank page, and then we're going to get started. So you just, this is like a preview. Okay, can you see my page now? Sorry, can you guys see my page, my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's fine. So there was some complaint that you could not see the screen. So this preview we are seeing now, right? It's a preview to use artificial intelligence to, please go and meet them outside, meet them outside and ask them, please. I'm doing a meeting. Terribly sorry about that. So this form here you are seeing is something I'm going to touch on at the end of this presentation. So we just close it now, and then we'll start. So once you open the Google Form page, you will see this layout that has these questions, your responses, and your settings. And then this option here, like I said, in the course of this presentation, I'll be looking at how the tools is used conventionally and how artificial intelligence is changing how this technology is being done, right? So this is like how to change your colors and all that. We'll be looking at all of these things to preview everything we've done, to undo and redo, to get the link and to share and publish. So I created a research work that I'm actually planning to use, and we're going to be using that document I presented to do this presentation today. Yeah, so it's loading. So the topic we're going to be looking at in the course of this learning is this one. So sexual and reproductive health rights awareness. So the first thing you want to do is to copy, right? So I'm going to do that again. Just Control A and Control V. So you just like name your presentation. So if you come to this part here, you see that the form is untitled. Just click on it, and whatever you made as the title of your form, it's going to automatically update there. Then you can also add a description to your form. So the description I'm going to use, or anybody will use, depend on what you're working on. It's like what the research work, the questionnaire you're trying to get is supposed to be for. So I've added my description here. Now, once you open the Google page form, the first thing you'll notice is this first page that shows where you had your title, and then it automatically drops like a platform for your first question, you know. So then it has all these options alongside these options that are in the top. So everything we are doing with Google Forms is automatically saved on the Google Drive of your device, the device you are working with. I mean your email, your Gmail account, right? So whatever you do on your Google Form is going to be saved on your Gmail, you get. So this first option now is to add a question, and then the next option is to import a question, and then the next option is to add like a title without putting a question, and this one is to add multimedia and videos, and then break things down into sections, and I'll be explaining it as we go. So I won't be able to like touch all of the questions because of time. So like I said, I want to show us how to do it manually, and then I'm going to show us at the end of the day how to use AI to do everything we want to do, and we'll get everything done in less than, let's say, 2 minutes or 1 minute tops. So this is just like a demo question. You know, ideally when you are doing a research, you would take consent from the participants, but I have to add this here because I want to show us something about the workflow. So when you select a question, just highlight it, and either you type it or you paste it like I did. You can now look at the drop down for the different options. So the options are short answer format for the answers, paragraph. Paragraphs are longer format response that will give the users more opportunity to like type more questions. Then you have the multiple choice option where you can select one option from different options. Then you have the check boxes where you can select multiple options. Like you want to ask the users, how many jobs do you do? How many hospitals do you work as a doctor? This one says I work in FMC, but I also cover biostat specialist hospital. So they can select both FMC, biostat specialist hospital, addressing a lecturer. So that's what the check boxes is for. We'll be using them during the course of the presentation. Then we have the drop down where you just want the user to select, and you can upload multimedia. Then you have like a linear scale where you can grade the responses on a scale of 1 to whatever, with intermediate to advanced. Then you have your rating. Then you have like multiple choice grid and checkbox grid, which you can use for your Likert scale. And then you also have your dates where you can select a particular date. So for this option, we are going to be using multiple choice. So if you look here, you will see that the system is very, very smart, right? Please, not too fast. Hope I'm not too fast. Are we there? Can you guys still hear me? Adara, can you hear me? Okay, hope I'm not too fast. Okay, so I'm going to be continuing.
So still about election.
It's smart, right? So if you come here, you can see that there are already options that is suggesting as your answer. So if you look at my form here, you see option yes, option no, you know, but if you go back to the form we are building in Google Form, you will see yes, no, maybe. So there's an option to click add all. If you click add all, it's going to put up the yes, no, and then maybe. So you can see it here. But for now, I don't need the maybe, so I'm just going to remove it. And then if you look, you will see like an icon for add image. So you can add image to your questionnaire, and each of the questions, you can move them, like you can adjust them. So if I select this thing, these 4 boxes, I can move this thing around. You know, I can adjust it. You get, so that's the first question. So after selecting a question, we can see what it looks like on the back end before deploying our tool by selecting preview. So once you select preview, it's going to now open the page for you. So are you willing to participate? The user can say yes, and then you can click submit, but then you can see it's not published yet. So we're going to go back and continue building what we are building. So the next part I want to go into, it's another section on demographics, right? I'm not going to gather all of the questions, or input all of the questions, but I want to show us something in Google Form. Now, Google Form and Kobo Collect have similar functionalities, but Kobo Collect has more built-in features, right? Kobo Collect has more built-in features. Google Form is free, but Kobo Collect is what they call is free and open source. And because it's free and open source, you can integrate it into more functionalities. So this option here is to make this question compulsory. This option here is to duplicate this question. If I click it, you will see we have 2 of these questions. So we don't need 2. So I can just delete it back. And then I'm going to explain another option. But first, I want to break it into another section. And I'll be explaining why in the next moment. So I'm going to add a section. And then you can see untitled section and description. So I'm going to come back to my questionnaire we're working with, and then copy what our next section is going to be. So I'm going to add it to the form we are working with. So you just come here at the untitled section, highlight it, and then paste, right? And then we follow the way we have been going. So this first option, like I said, is to add a question, import a question, add a text without asking a question, add image, add video, and break into a new section. So what we want to do now is to add a text, a question rather, to this new option. So I'm going to scroll down so you can see the same pattern. It's really, really easy to use. So now the next question we're looking at for our research work is, we want to determine the local government area from the respondent of this form. We want to ascertain the knowledge of sexual and reproductive health rights amongst members of Bayelsa State. So I just copy LGA. So I'm just going to go to my form, and then I'm just going to say, what LGA are you from? Question mark. So since we want the users to select one option, we'll leave it as multiple choice. So you just click on first option, and then you can either type, but me, I'd already like type these things out here in preparation for this presentation. So I just come here and copy, and then once I paste it and I click add option, it just automatically highlights for me to add the next test. So, and then I copy. I'm not going to copy all of them so that we can save time, because after doing all of this, I'm going to show us how to use AI to just simplify the process. But it's also good you understand the nitty-gritty with which this tool works, so that after you develop something with AI and it's not giving you the functionality you need, you can actually go back and edit it. So I'm going to just leave these 3 for now, and then I'm going to just keep this one. So this is our next question. And then I want to add another question. To add another question, we'll go to this plus icon again and click add question, right? So now I want to go back here and add the question, the community or word. So I've selected it. Then I'll just come here. Instead of typing it, since I've highlighted it, I'll just Control V. Now, for the community or word, I don't want to put, there are 2 ways, there are many ways we can do this, right? Since it's community and word, if we want to do community, if we have the number of all the communities in each local government, we can use this option called the drop down. You get, so you just click on it, it's going to drop down and then you select. But we want to use a short answer. So the short answer is now going to allow the user to type their community and their word. So I want to show us something that is interesting. So in Google Form and Kobo Collect, you can direct the flow of the way the questions are answered in a way that some questions can determine if other questions are relevant. So think about it as there are questions that will make, like, if this question is a no, if this question is a yes, you can answer the next question. For example, you can say, are you a medical doctor? Yes. Which medical school did you train? Because you want to find out the medical school. But if you're not a medical doctor, there's no point in asking what medical school you trained in. So look at this option now. Are you willing to participate? Yes. So if yes, we want to now continue the survey form. But then what if the person does not want to participate? Like I said earlier, before we do any research work, we'll go and do clearance from the regulating body and all of that. And you explain the research you want to do. So most people would not even put this, but I just put it here to just show us this functionality. So to make this in functional, if you click this option, you see like a 3 drop down for more options. So you see, go to, there's description. Like the description is to like explain what the question is for, in case you want to like get the respondents to have more clarity about what's or the why you're asking the question. And then there's another option, go to section based on the question. So we select that. So when we select this option, you will see these options are now coming up. So for yes, you see continue to next section. So look at it. We can either leave it as continue to the next section because the next section is section 2, or we can say select, go to section, the demographics and characteristics. Then for no, if the person clicks no, we can now say, okay, I want to submit form. So that the person selects this no, you know that you are not continuing filling the form. Like I said, this is for research purpose. Another thing to note is this section here breaks down the responses into pages. You get, so this one is going to appear on a page, while this next section 2 of 2 is going to appear on a separate page. So I'm going to save this thing now, Ctrl S to save, and then I'm going to preview it so that we can now see what it looks like. So back to our form. So now let's preview and see what it's like. So I made the first question compulsory. Then, are you willing to participate? Let's just say I don't want to. So if I click next, it's now going to take me to the submit page, just like I explained earlier. Then you can go back and test it again. Are you willing to participate? Now, if I click yes, it's now going to show me the next options of what local government is the responder from. I can say, okay, I'm from Ikeremo community. I can say Tamogbene, right? But this form is not live now, so we cannot publish it and see the functionality. So that's how like that flow works. So I'm going to just repeat that part again so that we get to understand it. So you first of all go to the section before the question, before the section, and click these 3 options, and then you go to section based on answer, and that's where you can put up this functionality. So you can select any option, any section you want based on the way you have structured your questionnaire. It can be section 4. Everything is already imputed in a way that the name of the section is already stored as a variable, right? At least in statistics, we understand the concept of variables. In programming, okay, let's not go into programming, but that's just the idea. Why, if you click short option, it's going to change the order with which the multiple choice option will show for each respondent anytime they click it. So if I want to make any other questions compulsory, I'll just select it. To select a question, just click on it. You see this blue outline, highlighted over it. It's showing that it's selected. And then you can click here. It's going to make it compulsory. So if the user does not fill this option, then they cannot submit their form. You can delete it if you don't want this option. You can duplicate it to have the same question, and then you can also like do the same thing we did here, like on the flow of the questions. But if we come to the question on the question on the text, if you look at it, you will see something that the other one shows how to affect the flow, right? For example, now, if you can select a multiple choice option, let me see if there's anyone like this so that I can add it to this call. Sorry, I just want to be sure. Can we still hear me? Can we still hear me? Hello, can we still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to, so let me go back to our form we are building. So back to this page, you can see there's I have to admit people, sorry about that. Let me just admit this person. So if you come back to the page, you will see this is the response, not the page. This is the page. You will see that if I click on these three drop down for the text, this thing is different. There's a normal description, but then there's a response validation. So that response validation, what it does is it's like guardrailing what you want the user to impute. So that at the end of the day, you're not going to receive a data that is going to be invalid, because after collecting the data, you're not going to send it as either a Google Sheet format or an Excel sheet format or any other form of CSV format that you can input into a software for data analysis, SPSS, Excel, Power BI, and any other form of data collection tool. You know, but sometimes you see some data that are collected and you notice that the user just puts up a value that you cannot even work with. So this response validation would help us like, okay, what do you want to use? Do you want just numbers or text? So you want your community or word. You don't want the person to put up a number. You can say, okay, I want just text. You want a certain length. You can put the length so that if it's not like the exact length. So if I just say text, now you see the options will change. It contains text and custom text error. So this custom text error, if I select it, it will now show like what you expect the respondent to put, so that the person puts in something that would affect your data entry. You can actually like shout like a red warning, hey, this is not what we expect, the kind of data we expect to be imputed into this field, right? But we're not going to be doing that yet. There's another option called regular expression. It's something you see in programming, but I'm not going to be talking about that one. I just want to like show us another option. So back to this next section, I want to add another question. So let's add the question of gender. So let's say sex, right? So I'll come here and add the question and say sex. So Control V, sex. So I'm going to add multiple choice, select multiple choice, and option male, female, and then let's say other. So I want to show us another area where we can make this thing useful. So if I click the next question and now say like other, this thing is very, very common when you fill forms. Other sex in brackets, please specify, right? It's very, very common. But then if the person feels male or female, there's no point in showing other sex, please specify. So what we can now do is to now come to this option of go to section based on selection. So if I put these others, the limitation of Google Form that I've seen is that to make this thing work more fluently, you have to like put it in a particular section, but Kobo Collect is not like that. Kobo Collect, you can break the flow into particular questions. So if I click other, it will not take me to, you are seeing this section 1 and section 2. It's not taking me to another section. But if I put this in a new section, now add section, and then I put this like other here, right, as section 3. So I'm just going to put it here and Control S. If I now come back to select this thing, I click other, it's not going to, if I click other, it's not going to take me to this section 3, right? And I'm going to add a section 4 to continue this presentation. But then if we're now doing the preview of the form, we will now see that, let's just preview the form so I will show us. We will now see that, are you willing to? Yes. You click next, the other options will come up. Ekremo, Tamogbene, okay. Then if I click other now, and I click next, it's not going to show me to specify, you know. So I say maybe, God forgive me, let me just use binary for purpose of example. But if I click back now and I select mail and I click next, it's going to go to the end of the form. No, it's not supposed to do this. Okay, I know why it's doing this, because we have not added another section. So let me add another section and go back to preview it. So this is section, this is section 2. This is section, like I said, we can move the stuffs down, right? So I want to move this section. So let me just delete this. So I want to move this section to be under, right? So I'm going to save. I've moved this section. So I'm going to end this one here because of time. So let's just do this before I end. So I'm going to come back here and select continue to, I'll go to section 4, even if I've not put anything there. Continue to section 4 and then save it again and then go to preview. So if we preview this thing now, are you willing to participate? You say yes, come to the next part, local government, select it, word, just put a random thing, blah, 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 blah. So my laptop is then sex. If I click mail now and I click next, right, it's now going to take me to section 4. But I've not done anything yet, that's what I'm saying. So this is how we can adjust the flow of the responses using this control logic, right? So I want to now move with the speed of light because we're already 30 minutes in now. I've not started kobo collect. So let's just call section 4 the section for sources of information. So how do people get the sources of information for sexual and reproductive health rights? So we'll come to the heading and then select it and just Control V, right? So back to our presentation, and then like we've always been going, the next step will be to add a new question. So I'm going to always repeat it: add question, import question, add a text to your form without adding the question. It can be thank you message, images, video, and break into the next section. And the next section is going to show as a new page for the respondents. So if I add a new question now, like the other one I was talking about, so main sources, you know, so for these main sources, we want like people to select as much as, you know, to select as much places where they get information from. So we're not going to use multiple options now because we don't want one single option. We're going to use checkboxes. So if you notice, this thing changed to a square option. So I'm going to come here and just select a few options, parents and teachers, and come back to the options and just Control V, and then remove this extra space. We don't need it. Then come back again to the next option, teachers and schools, and then Control C, and then come to our page and then paste, you know, and then it just goes on like that, right? So let's select another option. So friends and peers, and we'll stop there. Sorry. So Control V. So we can add another option, another question rather. So the next question on the page is, which option is trusted more? So I'll just collect it from here. Which option is trusted more? And just copy from here, copy, and go to the next question and add it. But this one, we're going to leave it as multiple choice because we want to see from the respondents which option is the choice of information would they want more. So I'm just going to copy these same 3 options and preview it and then test 2 more options, and we'll go to kobo collect. So come back here, add this option, and then copy from here. So you can see we can also copy from our existing tool. So what I'm just doing is Control V and Control C. You get, so I save. So if we preview the form now from the beginning with all the things we have been doing, are you willing to participate? I say yes. Then what local government? I just say Ikerimo. And word, I just put something. Sex, I say okay, I'm a man. Then when I click next, it will jump to option 4. But if I clicked order, it would have jumped to section 3 that will now allow me to select my sex, and before I now come back to this next page. So main sources, I say parents, teachers, school, and friends. Of the three, which one do I prefer the most? I say my parents and guardian, and boom, we are done. So I'm going to close the preview page and then show us more options for adding more questions. And then I'll show us how to use artificial intelligence to just simplify this whole process. And in 1 minute, we are done. So there are areas where we want to do a weight, you get, like a Likert scale and all of that. So we're going to do one of them here. So we want to look at something like a simple linear scale. So I'm just going to copy this option. Yeah, young people should have knowledge too. So I'm going to create a new question now. And then I just paste it here. And then I select the option linear scale. Let's say scale of 1 to 10. So I'm not going to label what I want my first thing to be. I say strongly agree for 1, and then disagree for 2. So we're going to preview everything at once, So this is like just a simple linear scale. So we're not going to do the last one for the Likert scale. The Likert scale is the one that you see popularly where you put up an option and you say strongly agree, neutral, disagree, and all of that. So I've already prepared a question for that. So let's look at the rights and perceptions statement for sexual and reproductive health rights. So I copy the question and I come back to my Google form, and then I just paste the option of what I want, and then I select the response option. So we're going to select, there are two we can use, multiple choice grid or checkbox grid. They do the same thing. So once I select it, right, I'm now going to add my row, right? And the row is now going to be this particular one, and I copy it, okay? And sorry, I just paste it here. I remove this extra, is not needed, and then I select column. So my first column is strongly agree. When you fix the column, you can use the same column across border. So the next column is agree. The next column is neutral, right? Then the next column will be disagree. Then the other column is going to be strongly disagree, right? Then I cannot come back and add as much rows as I want. So I just come to my question now and copy this next one and Control C and add it to the row. And I just paste it, Control V, and then I just remove this extra space that I don't need, right? And then I come here again, and then I add another question. So let's just do 3 for the purpose of time, so I can show some other things and we switch to Kobo Collect. So if I paste this one here, I'm going to now do another option. So I'm now going to add a text. So we've covered most of the things because we're going to test this form. After testing this form, I'm now going to show us more functionalities. So I'll just say thank you. So let me just clean the untitled text and say thank you for filling this form. Then I'm going to publish it for filling this form. So I'm going to save it. Then after saving, I can preview. So this is the preview now. Are you willing to participate? I say yes, and I click next. If I say no, it would have ended the form. Local government, I click this word. I just click something, mail. Then I click next. It goes to section 4. I select all 3 options as okay. I said something earlier. I said the sections, the way you break it down into section is how everything is going to be seen on a particular page. Since I did not break down every other question I've been adding into a new section, everything is going to appear on one page. So who do I trust the most? I say teacher and students. Young people should have access to sexual and reproductive health information on a scale of 1 to 10. I say 10. I say 1. Strongly agree. This should be 10. It should be 10 strongly agree. And then this is like the Likert scale. Young people should have access to sexual and reproductive health information. I say strongly agree. A young person should be treated respectfully when seeking sexual and reproductive health care. I say strongly agree. And then it is important that young people, and then thank you for filling this form, and boom, we are done. So now we are done with the form. The next thing we want to do is to publish the form. And before I publish the form, we can change the theme of, we can change the text. These things are not so important. We can change the color. We can add the background just to add designs. We can change the way the questions appear. You know, we can move, like for example, now if I come down, I can say, I want this question here to come down. You know, so I can move this question down so it will appear just after right and perception. You know, so I brought this question down. You get, so I can reorder the way I want the questions to be. I can do a lot of things. And the next thing now is to publish the form or share. So if I share the form, it's going to like create a link, right? So there are two options here. Now, to share this form, I'm sharing this form with like someone that I want to add as a collaborator. So I can select my personal email and add myself as a collaborator, not a responder, but an editor. And then I don't want any image. I just send an option. It's going to send an invite to me that, okay, I've been added as a collaborator. And then I'll still come back here. I'm still going to come back here and then select what I want. I can transfer the ownership. Okay, so editor option, anyone with the link can edit, you understand? So I'm updating this option and I just click save. Then I can also publish, right? So anyone that has the link, I just click publish and then it will just create a link for me. So this is going to be our link, right? And then I can shorten the link. You can also get the link here. Just click shorten link. It's going to make the link short. And I'm going to copy this link and then I'm going to send it to our message here so we can actually looking for the message. So we can actually like test it. Okay. Let me hide this option so I can put a message. So I'm just going to drop the link as a message. Sorry, just hold on. I'm looking for. So can someone drop a message so I can just see? I don't know why I can't see this, my messaging option here. I want to paste this link. Please, can someone just drop? Okay, I've seen it. Okay, so I just dropped the link here so we can fill the form, right? So I want to now fill the form. I'm going to open a different browser and then I'll fill the form. So just paste the link and then I come here and it will load and I can fill the form. So, okay, so I select and select this word. I say Tamogbene, and I select my sex as male and I click next. It's going to go to section 4. I select all three options. I select this one. I select strongly agree. I select, okay, this is the like case, strongly agree. And then I select strongly agree and I submit the form and boom, thank you for filling the form. And then once we come back to our form here, we're going to see one response. So we can now see like the summary of the question. We can see the question itself. We can now look at the individual responses to the questions, right? And then you can see options for linking your response to Google Sheets. But if you you can click on the drop down and then download this option as a CSV file so that you can use it with your Microsoft Excel. You get, like I said, both and Google for they are free. But
now we can hear you. Go ahead.
I don't see any. Okay, yes, my data finished on my HSN. Sorry about that. Thank God I came very, very prepared. Right, my data finished. So I was saying something that Kobo Collect and Google Form, they are both free applications. But then Google Form is free and open source. I mean, Kobo Collect is free and open source. Because it's free and open source, it has more integration with other softwares for statistical analysis like Excel and SPSS, right? So we can also integrate it directly. I'm going to show us that when we get to Kobo Collect. So if I come to settings here, you can see, you can make this into a quiz. We can do these options to collect users' email. We can send the responder a copy of their response. If you click on, you can allow people to like edit their response after submitting. I'm going to turn that on off, and then we can manage and we can do a lot of things. So that's just like the basics of Google Form. So I've talked about how to add questions, I've talked about how to share and how to collaborate. I've talked about how to do the settings, and I've talked about to edit the form and how to download it either as a Google Sheet format or as a CSV format. Please, if you are joining, kindly mute your mic. Let's mute our mic. Let's mute our mic so that
Mark,
yeah,
please mute your mic. Mark.
okay, so back to what I was saying. So like I said, in as much as we understand how these tools work, I want us to also know that the world has rapidly evolved, and everything we just spent the last 30 minutes learning, we can easily do it with AI. So if we come back to a new page, let me close this preview mode. Let me close this one now. I want to open a new, I'm going to close this one. If I open a new Google Form page, so I just say Google Form, right? And it takes me to an home page, and then I click Google Form and I click sign in. Since I already have an account, it's just going to take me to this thing, and I click a blank form just like we did from the beginning. It will take me to that page I said I'm going to talk to us about. So I'm just going to say create, this is AI now, we're using AI, create a form on the awareness of sexual and reproductive health rights amongst youths. Pardon my typo, I'm trying to be fast so that we don't exceed the estimated time in Bielsa, sorry, not Nigeria. So if the next thing you do is to select your add button. And when you select your add button, it's now going to like show you where you want to select your option from. Because I've already like done this before, I'll just select my question now, and then I'm going to click create. And when I click create, AI is going to now do all of the work we have been suffering to do for the last 40 minutes. As long as you've already like structured your questions very well, AI is now going to do everything for you, and boom, see everything we have been doing. This is the full form. I just come here and I click create form, and then it opens a form for me, and all I can do is to break down these things into different sections. So if I now click the preview now, it's not broken down into sections, so those flow, they're not present. If I click preview, everything is going to be on one page. I will need to consent, yes. You see continue and end of it because it's an AI. It's just garbage out. You can now go back and edit it the way you want. Local government, now see the options. Some options I did not talk about, drop down. I select Ikemo, no need to select this option. Word, I just type Tamogbene, right? And then age in years, I just say 100, right? And then I come down, sex, I say male. This one is multiple choice. Are you currently in school? I say yes. So you get the idea. So this is the full form that I prepared for this presentation on my research work. It's a personal research work I'm working on. I can select as many options as I want, and then which one do I feel is the best? Drop down option is better for it. I click this. Have you ever heard of this? I say yes. Multiple choice option, and then the Likert scale, it automatically does it for me. If I don't like this option, I can go back and edit it in the questionnaire and change true to strongly agreed, change false to disagree, add another option, neutral, add disagree and strongly agree, and then I'm going to go down, click all of this option, and by the time I'm done, I'm just going to click save. And something that should have taken me maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes to do, I'm just going to structure my questionnaire, give it to my AI. My AI is going to create it. I'm going to break it into a control flow, add my images, and then edit it the way I want to my taste. And in less than 10 minutes, people of God, we have our questionnaire. That is the beauty of artificial intelligence. So as much as I said earlier, we are looking at this conventional way we do things, we should understand and know that the world has already shifted to a newer and more dynamic way. So we should also arm ourselves with the tools to be prepared for that. So now we're going to be looking at Kobo Collect. Like I said, Kobo Collect is a free and open source tool, meaning if you are technically inclined, you can go to the source code and then you can pieces Kobo Collect so the way you want. So I just come to Google and this is not Google, this is Microsoft Edge. I want to show something, getting started. So once I click here, go to the page, I click login. So sorry, I hope I'm not too fast though. If I'm too fast, just let me know so I will slow down a bit, right? So if you have to
Very well.
So there are two options to creating an account. So you put your name. I'm just going to put dummy, username, dummy. You get an email address. Now, if you don't have an organization, you can just say, I am not associated with an organization. But if you have an organizational mail, like for example, .nuth.com, with the way our organizations are, even in our government hospitals, we are supposed to have government emails because you can use to send international mails to bodies. They will not bounce it back. But in case you don't have, just come here and select, I'm not associated with any organization, and you can put your personal email. Because if you don't select that option, it will not work. So you select your country. This one is compulsory, select this. And then if you want to receive updates, you select this one too. Select your password and click create account. That's how you create an account with Kobo Collect. So before you can use the platform, you create an account. But for Google, you don't have to create an account if you already have a Gmail, because Google Forms, which lives in Google Drive, is one of the many products that are being in use by Google. So I'm going to come to my browser, back to my browser, and then I'm going to create a new research work. So once you sign in, right? Before I go back, I don't know if I should, because of time, I would have really wanted to show us how to create an account. But once you click create an account, they're going to now send you a mail. So your personal email you first have to verify that email, then you click a link before you can start using your account. So that's also important. And try to remember your username. The thing I said earlier, Google Form and Kobo Collect have similar functionalities, but I think Kobo Collect has an edge because it's open source and it has more integration, and you can even deploy Kobo Collect forms offline, right? So to get started with Kobo Collect, we just click new. So you see 4 options. In our Google, once we start the form, they're just like blank or templates. You get, when in Kobo Collect, we have more options. You can either build a form from scratch, which is going to be the bulk of what we will be doing, or we can use a template, or we can even upload an Excel document, and we're going to work with it for our form, or we can import an Excel document from a website. So we just go to the website where the Excel document is in the website, and we just copy it. Sorry, this share is almost falling me. We just copy it and click it here, and just automatically creates the stuff for us. So I'm going to click build from scratch, and then I'm going to do the same thing I did with Google. Just come to the beginning of my research questionnaire and just select sexual and reproductive health rights, right? And come and paste it here. Then I'm just going to paste my description. I'm going to paste my description. YB OB. You can ask a question. Sorry, I'm just seeing your hand up now. If you have a question, please, you can ask. I don't know if you can hear me. Is YB there? Okay.
Hello, facilitator.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Oh,
so members are
Chairman.
trying to join. I just wanted you to let them in.
Yes, I've added them. I just got the notification now, sir. So I just added.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
it's fine. Shuttling, presenting, and adding. So okay, let's continue. So I'm just going to like add the description of this. It's already typed, so I'm just going to copy and then I'm going to paste. And so you enter a short description and then select your sector, health and public health, and then region. We're in Nigeria. You can also add other region. So Nigeria, and then I can add Nigeria, I can add Afghanistan, but we're not in that. I'm just trying to say you can add other regions, and then you click create project, and it's going to take you to the page where you would create your project. So this is the Kobo Collect option. It's simple as Google Form and intuitive, but then it has some more out-of-the-box functionalities, which are going to be seen during the course of the presentation. So this is the same option to preview, and this is another option, but we're going to be looking at to group different things together. And with this icon, this one that is highlighted, if I remove the mouse, it's going to go green. But if I put the mouse here, it's going to go blue. Is where we'll now start building our form from. So if I click, I'm going to have an empty box to add my first question. So still with the explanation I gave, I'm going to start with getting consent. However, I said before when we started that if you are doing a questionnaire research, you get ethical clearance. So you don't need to even start asking people, do you want to? I'm just putting this here to show us how to like build a flow in the questionnaire. So I'm just going to add this. I'm just going to paste it. And when I click add question, I don't need this. If you click the add question, it's not going to, like for example, in the Google, we had fewer options. We had date and time, short answer, paragraph, linear, 2 options for Likert scale. That's the 2 grid options for the Likert scale option. We had the drop down, we had the multiple choice option, and we had one other option. But if you come to Kobo Collect, they have more options. So you have this option, select one. You have this one, select many. You have this one, text. This one, numbers, that's integers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then decimal, 1.2, 2.5. Then dates, the dates in calendar. Then time, then date and time combined. Then point is your GPS, line is GPS, area is GPS. Then photo is for images that you can upload. Note is just like that text option. Thank you for filling this form that we saw in Google Form. Audio, you can add audio. Barcode is your QR code. This rating we see very soon is for Likert scale. This other one is like the linear scale for it's like the linear scale in Google Form. Then we have the range, we have file, you can make it hidden. The same way we can do calculation in Excel, we can do calculation with inside of Kobo Collect, right? And this external XML. XML is like a kind of programming language, and then you have acknowledge and video. So this question, are you willing to participate? It's a multiple choice option. So if you are dealing with multiple choice option that require one option to be selected, you go with select one, then it's going to give you the options. So I'm just going to copy and paste my options here. I'll just click yes, copy yes. No need to even copy, I can even type because it's not a long text. And paste it. Remove this, I don't need this. And then no. Then I go to my next option, my next question. So the next question is now the local government area. So I'm just going to copy what is the local government area, right? And then come back here and add it. So this still requires multiple choice option. So I'm still going to use the select one. So I can just quickly type Ikeremo and Nimbe because of time. Pardon me if you're not from Ikeremo and Nimbe. I'm from Ikeremo, so Ikeremo must enter all of my presentation today. Then add another question. So when I was doing the presentation on Google Form, I talked about an option for description, and I talked about validation, how you can gargle the responses so you don't get invalid responses, because with data analysis, the quality of your work depends on the quality of your data, right? That's why all of this. You can see this question int here. You can call me and just put an int so that the person can understand what they're expected to put. And we'll look at the options for guardrailing the responses in Kobo Collect shortly. So the next question is, what's the next question? Your word or community. And then we want the people, you want the respondents to type. So we just call me and select it, Control V, and when you click add question, you will now say text A, B, C, D. All right. So we can now preview it here. So once we preview, this is what our form is going to look like once it's deployed. So it's going to load. So this is our topic. So are you willing to? Yes. Local government, Ekeremo, community or ward, Tamogbene, right? And then I click validate and boom, it says form is valid and I can close back and continue doing what I want to do. So how do we do a control flow in Kobo Collect the same way we did in Google Form? If you look at the sides of the question, you see 4 options. There's the option for setting, there's the option for delete, there's an option to duplicate your question, and there's an option to add your question to library. So this is your library here. So if you add this one, if you go to the library, so you can reuse the question over and over again. If you want to like do something that require that kind of question, you don't have to come and retype, just upload it from your library. So if I click this option, you will see different options here. Question options, skip logic, and validation criteria. So the question options here, you can see where you can put your int, where you can make your question mandatory, so that if the person does not fill that option, they cannot submit their form. Right. And then there's now the skip logic. So there are 2 options to the skip logic. There's one that says add a condition, and there's another one that says manually enter your skip logic in SLS form code. Now, I will not advise you to start with this one because it's something that is more convenient for people who are used to programming. In programming, it's what they call regular expressions. It's a way to like put in rules on how something should be said, right? But we're not going to talk about that in the scope of this our presentation. So I want to add a condition. The condition is, when is this question going to be displayed? Remember, in our Google form, the condition was on the question on top. The question on top determines where the next one is going to show. But in this one, we're going to do it on the question itself. So I'm going to now select list from question, and the only one we have above is, are you willing to participate? So are you willing to participate? If it's equal to yes, what the local government area is going to show, right? And then I can add all the same condition to all the separate questions, but there's a better way, and I'm going to show you the better way. So if I just click the close now and preview our form again, you will now see what has happened. So if the form loads, just like I said, if I now select, are you willing to participate? You will see that local government is hidden. If I click yes, it's not going to come up because I already set a condition that if the user says yes, it should come up. If they say no, it will be hidden, right? And then under community award. Okay, Chairman, I think your mic is open. Don't affect the recording.
This is the shameful thing that
So can someone tell Chairman to mute his mic so it does not affect our recording? All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Where was I? Okay, so back to our Kobo Collect. So you can see the community award, the next question under it. And so I'm going to just add one more question and then show us a better way of dealing with that. So let's do sex now. So sex is also a multiple choice question. And I want to show us like an advantage of Kobo Collect over Google Form. So I'm going to click this option and say sex. And then if I click add option, I'm going to click select one. So I'll say male, female, right? Female, and then a third option, others. And then I'm going to add another question and say others. And then I'm going to add the settings. and then do it in a way that others will only show sorry, let me reduce the size. I go to sex. If the sex is you can see the conditions. This is, you see sex, right? This is like coding logic. You see different options, right? Click the equal, you can see was not answered, was answered, equal to or not equal to. I'm leaving that equal to. If it's equal to others, right? So I'm going to close this one now. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to add all of these things about the demographic into one single group. And then I'm going to set it in a way that it's going to show on one page. So to do that, we first click on the option. This is the question. If I click on it like this, you will see that there's a blue outline. I'm going to click out again, and then you see no blue outline. So if I click on it here, you will see the blue outline back. You're going to now hold your control key on your keyboard and click, and then I'm going to go down. Review. This is to expand your questions, and the next option is to create a group of everything selected. So I'm not going to click a group. It's not creating a group. So this is the group that it has created of all the questions. So I now have to edit my group. So I can come to my questionnaire and copy this group question as demographic and background characteristics and come here and just paste it here. Control V. So the next thing I want to do is to select the option. You know, I'm going to turn off this option of this skip logic. I'm going to remove it. We don't want this skip logic. So let's just delete this skip logic from here. Let's put the skip logic in the group itself. Right, so let me open the group again and see the options here: settings, delete, add to library. So if I click on the settings for the group, you see two options. Now you can see repeat this group if necessary, but then there's another option. So you can say show all questions on the same page. I want that so that if on the screen when we deploy the app, it's going to show everything on the same page. Then this option to repeat this group if necessary. For example, you want to know how many land someone has, and if the land is for hospital or the land is going to be for secretariat. So how many lands does NAG-NDP have? You can now say repeat this question if necessary. You can now click first land, you know, you now say for auditorium, next land, number 2. That's how that option works, but we're not using it for now. So if I come to skip logic, I will now go to add a manual condition, and then I'm going to select from list. It's not going to show me all the options available, and I'm going to say, are you willing to participate? And the condition is yes. So if the person clicks yes, this group is going to show. So we're just going to save it. Always ensure you save your work. And then if you now come to preview, once you save, it shows successfully updated. Come to preview here, preview the form, and you come here, you see that that full group has disappeared. But when I click yes, you see the full group has come up. Oh, sorry. Let me increase the form again. Sorry about that. Yeah. So I can now fill my options, put my community, Tamogbene, select my sex, and then let's say I select others now. I'm not going to put in, let's just say something random, and then we are done. You say form is valid, right? So I don't know if we have any questions so far. Before I jump with the speed of light to our next part, I want to show before I show us how to deploy the form and some other options. Any question, please? Okay, so maybe we'll take questions at the end because of time. It's already past 6. So I want to move with the speed of light. So let's continue developing our questions. So I'm going to increase the size of this a bit more so that when we're watching the videos, it's not going to, you know, so I can expand the group. Sorry. So let me move this thing. So I can expand the group and I can collapse the group so that we can have space to see other things. So see this option, if I click this drop down arrow, it's going to remove those things. So you can see this drop down arrow. So I'm clicking this drop down arrow. It's now going to So I want to add my next question. So the next question is just going to take up more options. So let's look at things that we can use for Likert scale. So let's do this one. A person, a young person has access to sexual and reproductive health information. I'm going to copy this, right? And then I'm going to add this to the questionnaire now. So I'm just going to do this and place paste, remove this option, we don't need it, and then select add question. So I'm not going to select ranking. No, not ranking now. We need to do, let's do rating first before we go for ranking. So I'll just delete this and create a new question. So add question, okay. Okay, yes, sorry about that. Okay, let's just do this one, then I'll come back to rating. So right and perception of this. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to change this option, and then I'm going to come back to my form and just work with 3. So number 1, copy. Okay, let's just do 2 because of time. Just Ctrl V, move the text. Okay, and then for the options, I'm just going to change it to strongly agree. This is like your Likert scale. Strongly agree. Another option, agree, right? So we'll now do for neutral, and then disagree. And the last option, strongly disagree. Strongly disagree. So I can now come and add more questions. So I can just come in here and say a young person should be treated respectfully when seeking sexual and reproductive health care. So I'll just type it. A young person should be treated, pardon my typo, respectfully when seeking care. Then it's going to take up all these options. And the last one, let's just say, what is sexual and reproductive health rights relevant? Let's just use it as a dummy question. So I save. So if I go to the preview now, we can now see this Likert score that's already added. So the reason why I'm not seeing those options is because I've not clicked yes. So when I click yes, I can now see the other options, put my option, select others so that I can now say mail again, and then come back and fill my Likert score. So okay, this is now, I think there's an error here. This is not supposed to show. It's supposed to show strongly agreed and all that, but I'm going to redo it. Okay, so let me come back to the form, right? Sorry about that. So I'm just adding it to the, supposed to be on the top. So let me just add it here. I'm going to remove this question and then save it again and test it and see what it looks like in the preview. So I just come here to see the updates. So strongly agreed, disagree. So I don't know why this entire question is still showing. Let me come back and edit it. Okay, So sorry, this is supposed to be. So please, it's supposed to be here. This is where you paste your question, right? And then I'm going to paste this one here too. So I'm going to save again, and this is supposed to be your int. So I'm going to remove this part so it doesn't look too. So let me save and come back to the preview option. So we can now see the questions, so this is the right and perception statement. So I can now come and select strongly agree, disagree for the Likert scale. And then if I click yes, is that going to open the path for the demographics and all of that? So I can now type every other thing I want to do. So I'm going to close this now and continue adding more options. So let's do the same one again and use that linear scale that we did in Google Form. Paste here, and add the question. So let's add the question again here. Then the ranking, let's say 1 to 5. Let's just do 10, right? So let me save and let me preview. So you can rank, but this is not the ranking I was expecting. I wanted to select, but I'm not seeing the option now. Let me see. Now I don't add a different question, but it's supposed to rank on a linear scale from 1 to 10, right? So we can add more text to it based on what we do by selecting a dummy thing, like this is for text, and then add more options. Like I said earlier, this point, if you want to like get the person's location, fill in the form, you just select the point and it's going to select it. And then if you want to add a file, upload a file or upload an image, you can select image, upload file, and then upload the video. And there's also an option for a range. Then there's an option to calculate. We're not going to be going over it with this presentation. Then I'm going to just add this one. I'm going to change the option, but I'm going to add it as a note. I'm going to change the note as thank you for responding to this form. So let's just preview it one more time before we save. So see, thank you for responding to this form. Don't take any question. I close and then I save, then I close this page, and then it shows me the stuff I just worked on in my draft. So look at the draft version, and then last modified 618. That's 10 questions. So in order to like make this thing go live, you need to click deploy. So it's going to take a while and it's going to deploy the form. So I can come here and then share the project. So the sharing of the project is to like allow people to be able to like edit this project. So these are the options: allow submission to the form with add username and password. I select it. Anyone can view this form, yes. Anyone with this link can make submission to this form. So I can now copy this link and send to someone to, edit this form. But I don't want to do that now, so I'm just going to close this page. So, like I said, one advantage of Kobo Collect is that it has different models through which you can use the form. So you can do offline, online. What that means is you are doing a questionnaire in a place that has bad internet connectivity. You can just be collecting your data and it's going to be saving in your browser. And whenever you turn on your internet, it's going to save to the database of whatever you are doing. That's for this option. Online only, you can have multiple submissions and it's going to just work when it's online. Then there's online and single submission. That's what we're going to use. Then we have online only, once per respondent. Then we have an option to copy the link of this form and put it to a website so we can fill only and only again. Then we have this view only. This view only is to do like a preview mode. So you can view it or you cannot edit it. Then we have like an Android application. So imagine those people doing data collection, moving about with tabs and all that. That's how this thing works. Unfortunately, my other phone that I've installed Kobo Collect is off. If not, I would have shown us the set. But if you click on, for example, now you install Kobo Collect on your phone, you copy this URL, and then you are going to put your username and password, and then you log in. Then when you log in, I can't show you, it has to be shown on a phone. But when you log in, you see several options. You will now say get form. Then when you get the form option, it's going to now show you the forms that you have deployed on your platform. Then you can now like fill the form. After filling the form, submit the form and use it over and over and over again, just like a tablet and all that. But the phone I'm supposed to use for it was the one that the data disappeared from. So I'm switching to my other phone. So I cannot share the screen there. So I'm going to use one of the popular methods that people use. So it's online only single submission. So once you click that, you can now come here and copy the link. So you say link copy to clipboard. So I'm going to do what I did the other time. I'm going to come to our meeting. Sorry. Yes. And then I'm going to paste this link here so we can test it and fill it on our own end. I'm going to open a different browser and I'm going to fill this form. So I'm just going to fill this form now. So are you willing to participate? I click yes, it gets my demographics. I put in the information and then I put in my local governmental ward, select, okay, let me select others and I select a male as well. And then I select my Likert score, strongly agreed, and then I say 10 for this, and then I submit the form. Then when I submit the form, I can come back to, because we selected once per participant, once you submit the form, it's not going to allow you to refill the form. It's just one. If you want to go back, we can go back and change this option to like a different module of submitting. Just come here and change it from here. You can say online only multiple submission. And when we are done filling that form, it's not going to say close. It's not going to go back to that same page. So now that we have filled our form, we'll come back and refresh our page. So we refresh the page now, and then we have deployed it. We can now come to our summary. Summary is where you can share the project. You can edit the form from here, your data, and then come to data. We can now see the respondents from the form. So the way the response is different from the way it is in Google Form. Google Format, individual responses, general responses. Let me open the Google Form again so that I can refresh our memory. So if I come to click response here, we have the summary of the response, the questions that were asked, and then you can click next, and the individual responses to the question. Sorry, individual responses rather. So you can see like what the individuals responded to each question. But for Kobo Collect here, you have like a table that shows like a tabular representation of your data. You can see, are you willing to? Yes, and all of that. Then you have like a report of your information. See, there's already like an histogram that is made for you. It's not perfect for analytics, so but you can see since it's just one respondent, one person said they are willing to, you can see 100%. Frequency, one person, then local government, okay, more. So that they are doing like these charts that shows all the responses in a tabular format, you know, so you can also like export. I think there's an option to, let me see. So it shows like the reports of your data, you know, and then this gallery, you can even change the style that you want it to be for your analysis. This gallery is for if you added images to your work. So everything is going to come to this gallery page here. And then downloads is if you want to download your data. So Kobo Collect has different data file formats for getting your data. Google formats just Google Sheets and Excel. But this one, it has XLF format. It has Excel CSV format. It has SPSS. You know, it has this geo is like geolocation, and JSON is something in programming that uses I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty of the explanation, but it's just a structured way of putting out a document or an information. So I think it's JSON string object notation not relevant to the scope of our. So these are different file formats. So we can select CSV and then select labels and then advanced options, select everything we need, and then we can, let me close the advanced option. Then when we click export, it's going to take a while, and then it's not going to show us an option, it's processing, where we can now download our file as the file format. So you just select it and then just click save, and it's just going to download it to your local software. So if you want to download as SPSS, you can just come here directly, follow through the same processes, and then you have like an SPSS file. Not too relevant because you can import a CSV file directly into SPSS, and then you have your settings where you can make any settings to your project. You can delete the project and redo the project. So basically that's what Kobo Collect is. If I come here now and I want to edit this form, let's say I want to add a new question to the form, and I just come to click, and then I just say, let's just say test again, and then I had question, and then I want to select multiple choice because that's one option I noticed I did not talk about. But I talked about, oh sorry, let me increase this thing again. I talked about multiple choice option in I think I mentioned multiple choice option here. Yeah, I already did. So let's just do it again. Age. So I just come here and select 18 to, let's just say 20, and 30 to 50, right? Select the other option, 30 to 50, and I save this. In order to see these new changes, once it says successfully updated, it has been changed, I'll come here and close it, and you see you've made changes again. It's not 11 question. In order to see these new changes to the form, I have to redeploy it again. So yeah, I click yes, it's going to now overwrite the stuff. I can now come back and select the option with which I want it to be used. I'll say online only, multiple, then I'll click here to get the corresponding link. This is where you will now send the link. So I'm going to come to our call again and then send the link. This is where you send the link to the respondent. You get. So that's how you get your link out for Kobo Collect, and those are the advantages, the extra out of the box functionalities that Kobo Collect has that gives it an edge over Google Form because it's open source. And just like I said earlier, whilst it's good to like understand how these things work, it's also good to pay attention to the rapid way technology is affecting how we do all of these processes and data collection. Now, if you speak to the data collection experts, they will rightly say, and they are very correct too, that you should not output your data entry into AI for them to analyze your data for you. AI can analyze data perfectly well, but then there's a concern of, okay, the security of your data, because AI is going to be trained on those data that you put online and make it publicly available. However, you can download an AI model on your laptop if you have a good one locally, and you don't have the problem of storing it locally. But then during the course of like waiting for this winter, I was just playing around, and then I was like, okay, let me just test what AI can do. And I was like, imagine I want to create my own tool for data collection. I'm rounding up, or rather I've rounded up, and then I bytecoded this product. So this is just something to play around with. There's still a lot of things I need to do here. So I just come and put my email. Okay, let me use yahoo.com. I used gmail.com before. Right. And then I just put I put my name. Let's just use maybe Efiri. And then, this whole stuff that you're seeing here, if you can see my screen, I built it. I bytecoded it in less than 3 minutes. So I can just come and select new project. There are a lot of things I still need to do, and I can just use AI assistant. And let's see what my own AI that I built for collecting form would do in comparison to Google Form. I say, let me just copy and paste this thing here instead of stressing myself. I don't stress my brain. So I'll just copy this one here, paste it on my own app that I built. So I just come here and then boom, I paste and I generate questions. And just like the Google Form stuff that generated all the questions for us when you've already structured everything. This one is now generating questions for you, but the difference is you are building your own app. I'm just doing this to like show us the potentials, right, and the possibilities of what AI can do. So in as much as we are understanding baseline functionalities, we should work with a mindset that is proactive and willing to adopt current trends. I'm going to wrap up by saying this. People are worried about artificial intelligence and the role in healthcare. It's not going to replace any of us anytime soon. We don't have infrastructure in this country. But one thing that is certain, AI is going to replace AI is going to the man using AI is going to replace the one that does not. So we have come to the end of this presentation. So I don't know if we have any questions, clarifications, contributions, critique. I'm ready to take them now. So if you don't have, Chairman can give closing remark, and then I'm going to send the link for this. We're exceeding the times. I don't plan to keep us longer than it's anticipated. So the floor is ours. If you have questions, you can kindly unmute and ask questions and contribute as the case may be. Thank you.
Hello, can I be here?
Yeah, we are hearing you, Dr.
Okay, Chairman, you're still on. I don't know. Any question? I just wanted to ask if there are questions. We are just about 5 here. So if there are any questions, let's quickly ask our question. So that Chairman can give his remark. Remember, this thing is recorded. So after now, the resource person will have to make those recordings available so that we can refresh our memory and go ahead with capacity building section. Thank you very much.
Okay, so are we expecting a closing remark from the chairman?
Yes, I'm here already. I'm here. Dr. Phil. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay. So, first of all, I want to appreciate the Almighty God for life, for keeping us, even for we to have this opportunity to enrich our knowledge. Then I want to thank our dynamic facilitator for this insightful presentation. We have indeed learned a lot, and that is what life is all about. It's all about adding to your knowledge as God permits you. So I want to appreciate you for taking your time to present this insightful presentation for us. And also, I want to appreciate all of the NAG MDP members here. I know some joined, then left, some joined later, and that was the wisdom behind we getting a recorded presentation. Because as NAG NDP members, we know how busy we are. I believe that most of them are in their duty centers where they are manning their centers all alone. So some of them will now have the time to attend. So that is why we say we need to have a recorded presentation so that everybody can finally benefit. So I want to thank all NAG NDP members. Thank you all very much for those that could make themselves available. And even as the presenter know, as a SOC, we have been very busy today. Presently, I'm still in another meeting. So I'm really banking. I was trying to listen as much as I can, but I'm really banking on this recorded version because I'm in another meeting right now. And so will other people. So thank you very much. Thank you, my presenter. Thank you, NAG NDP members, for making yourselves available. I want to thank my SOC, especially for always being supportive and always contributing. This idea was from one of us, and it has come to benefit many of us. So thank you all very much. And God bless you. Have a good night rest and take time to listen to the presentation again. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, sir, and thank you, Dr. George, Dr. Isaiah, and Secretary of NMA Bayelsa. So we're going to be closing the curtain now. And good night, everybody.
Good night.